Good morning. Welcome to Chasing Dreams. Will and Herbie's journey to the masters. This is the Chasing Dreams vlog. So I think going forward, I'm gonna say, good morning, welcome to the Chasing Dreams vlog. I have my Christmas corgi coffee cup from a friend that I don't see anymore. If she sees my little video one of these days, so I miss you and I love the cup that you gave us. And so where was I talking about Herbie? That's right. Okay, so welcome to the Chasing Dreams vlog, and let's talk about, today I was gonna talk about Herbie. So I wanna talk about Herbie and the way I got him and the way he came into my life, but I'm still like, I really wanna understand his genetics. Like, I wanna understand his breeding a lot better. Like, I'm kind of starting to understand, I said genetics, right? Because something about a genetic mare that didn't add any contribution to him. Like, I don't understand that part of like what that means on his passport. Yeah, my horse has a passport because he came from Germany. So like, I want to get some clarification on that. Like, I know who his dad is and I know who his mom is, and I want to like make sure that we have like a good story for Herbie. Like when I actually tell his full story about who he is and who he is as a horse, right? Like, but I think for today, like, to help you understand who Herbie is his official name is Abracadabra, and Herbie is a Hanoverian, and he was imported from Germany by Claire Bangert from CB Equestrian, and she has operations down here in Wellington and up north, I want to say Connecticut. And Claire, if I'm wrong and you happen to see this video, post a little chat and I'll probably tag you in it. So if anybody wants to know how like to find amazing horses, every time I'm on Claire's Facebook page, or her Instagram account, she's got some amazing horses that she's imported, and a few for this season if you're looking, right? Like, so like, keep an eye on the horses Claire brings over, because she brought Herbie over, and Herbie pretty amazing to me. So Herbie came over in November 2023. That's funny, I just put that together. Herbie came over in November of 2023, I think, and I started riding in November 2023. So like, we both began our United States career in the same month as equestrians and as the equestrian horse, like my person. My companion. So I had began taking riding lessons at Spitfire. I think it was October 2023. Spitfire Farms is where I ride at. And I started with a horse named Ivy. She was my first horse, and she had kissing spine, and she's retired up in the north on pastures at the stable that bred her originally. And she was like a really fast off the track thoroughbred. And unfortunately, she wasn't going to be able to keep up with me coming back to riding, and so she's found a retirement home. And so for the next 3 months after we found a place for Ivy to go, I rode different lease horses that the Eola, the owner, would put me on, and I was having kind of a frustrating time because I just wasn't quite finding my seat, and I really felt like I needed more than 3 days a week to ride. Like, I needed to be able to ride every day, like not just like on the days of the lessons. I needed to ride in between the lesson days on my own horse so I could practice what the trainers teaching me during my lesson. And so, you know, Jan could see that I had a natural deep seat, right? Like, my hands were sloppy. I hadn't ridden in 14 years. My body was weak. I was still a bit pudgier than I am now. And so I was not, my posture was awful. Like, it was a wreck. And that was really impeding my progress as a rider, right? Like, and here I am like thinking I'm gonna go to Wellington, I'm gonna ride the Grand Prix, and like, I can't even get off my horse's mouth. Word, right? Yeah. That's always a learning experience, right? Like when you can't get off your horse's mouth, right? Like, because they throw you to the ground. And so, because, you know, the mouth is full of a lot of sensitive stuff, right? Like, you gotta, and so when your trainer's yelling at you, like, and you're like being all about you and like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, and then you're being mean to me, like, they're just kind of trying to help you be gentler with the horse, right? Like the horse can do what you're asking it to do without you being so aggressive. So, and so I needed time to work all that out on my own horse and to develop a relationship with my own horse. So then we started looking for horses, and Jan took me to about 8 or 9 horses. Listen, I got impatient. I went to my first horse all by myself. I just signed up, went out and rode it. Had no, like, listen, barrel racers, we want to buy a horse. We don't show up with a trainer. Like, I just call somebody up. Hey, you got a horse for sale? I saw it on Barrel Horse World. Yeah, can I come look at it? Sure. Oh yeah, try it, get a vet check, bring it home. Never a trainer involved. I might have a friend come with me who is a trainer, right? But like never an organized, like, oh yeah, this horse matches your style, Will. Like, oh no, this horse is beyond your ability, right? Like you're at this level. No, this horse, actually you two can grow together. Like, that's what Jan did. That's like the amazing part of Jan, right? Like, and she literally, like the very first horse Jan, so she found like 8 or 9 horses, and the very first horse after the disaster, like literally, I went, Porky Healy, and I hope I'm saying your name right. I went out to her farm, right? Right? Like all by myself. She puts me on this great big huge horse, and like, I'm like all over that horse's mouth. I really should attach that video clip. That horse unloaded me. Yeah. Well, and I fell to the ground like I was an Olympian. Man, I stuck that dismount. Thank freaking God, because she probably would have like flipped out if I got hurt. Yeah, do never, like your trainer should be the person. You should have a trainer take you to buy a horse, right? Like somebody who knows your ability. So she took me to all these horses, and the very first horse I saw was Herbie. Abracadabra is his registered name as a Hanoverian. And so I got on him, and it was like riding my really first competitive horse, LL Kathmandu. Like it was riding him. Like I just felt like I could get on Herbie, and I could hear what Jan was saying, and I could ride him, right? Like, and he responded to me. And so we rode like 3 other horses that day, and I was like, it's Herbie. And so I think it was like on a Thursday, and we rode him like 3 times. On the second visit out, Katie from my stable and her mom Carrie came with me, and the Della Cavas, love those people, and especially Carrie. She's like the best horse mom in the whole world. I wish Carrie was my horse mom, not my girlfriend. And I want I want barn dads. I want barn dads. That's what I want. For Christmas next year, I want a barn dad. They're amazing, man. Like, get a dad like behind a kid on a horse. Holy freak, man. I love barn dads. Can I hire one? I should be able to hire a barn dad. Seriously. Back to Herbie. So I rode these other horses, and I'm like, one of them was a quarter horse, like this really pretty little quarter horse, probably a great hunter. And I couldn't get her to move off my leg. Oh my God. You know, that wouldn't happen now. You could put me on any horse. And that's how strength and understanding the proper mechanics of being an equestrian. Now that I know it, like every horse is gonna be a little bit different, but I could get a horse to move off me now, like, because I understand the mechanics of how an equestrian moves a show jumping horse, right? I understand that. And so I got on Herbie, and all those other horses. So 2 days later, I have all over the place, right? So 2 days later, we get on Herbie again for a second trial, and it was really funny because like Herbie kind of like, he's young. Herbie was he was 6 when we tried him. He turned 7 last June, and he's gonna turn 8 this June. So he's a young horse, right? And I kind of like that about it, because he already kind of knows what to do, but he's not finished. And like, he's not a 10-year-old jumping horse that's completely automatic, like except for he's totally automatic in the arena when I ask him. And at home, like sometimes, like And when I'm on a jump course at home, he's like, boom, he'll do it. Like when I'm practicing, God, sometimes I can't freaking get those, but I'm getting better every time. So that was kind of like, I get on him the second ride, and seriously, I've got like 4 more horses to ride after him. And as soon as I get off of him, and we're in the car, like Carrie and Katie and Jan, and I'm in my car, and I start just sobbing. I know he's the one. Herbie's the one, right? Like, I gotta go ride 4 more horses, and it's Herbie. And I'm like, damn, it's Herbie. So I jump out of the car and I run over to Carrie and Katie and Jan, and I'm like, yes, it's Herbie. I just know it's Herbie. It's Herbie. Oh my God, my poor husband, right? Like, call the banker, call the mortgage guy, get ready, we're buying a horse, right? Like, you know, every barn dad should have a really great relationship with a mortgage advisor, don't you think? Seriously. Yeah, horses and mortgages, they go hand in hand. You got a little equity in your house, and you have a kid that likes horses. No, you don't have equity. Your kid has a dream. I think we should captivate. Like, you only get one life. You should be captivated by it. You know, I've been captivated by things and those captivations have moved me through like my mental health issues most of the time. Like, I think I can dissociate from like my own happiness, and it can last a really long time. And when I'm captivated by something that helps me wake up in the morning, and most of the time in my life it's been horses that have kept me captivated. And when I'm separated from horses, I join cults, apparently. That's a story. But I think that like that moment when I knew that Herbie was gonna be my horse, I didn't realize how much from that last March till now that Herbie and I would grow together. You know, one of the things that I've really enjoyed about riding Herbie and taking lessons with Jan is learning and the mechanics of the equestrian is understanding the outside leg and the outside rein, like, and the half halt. Those have been things that like your trainer tells you, and they tell you, and they tell you, and they tell you. And like, even if you understand like lateral moves, right? Like, you can't effectively do lateral moves unless you have control of your outside rein, your outside leg. You can't effectively do a circle unless you have inside rein, outside leg. You can't effectively manage propulsion unless you understand the half halt. These are just like the things that you kind of need to understand as a rider. And as I've really implemented these things with Herbie, like the half halt. Like, when do you do the half halt? And what do you mean the half halt is like key to like propulsion? When I barrel race, like one of my really great instructors said, you know, a horse has like 5 strides at a dead gallop, like at a dead run, right before they start looking for air. And when they start looking for air, that's kind of when you want to collect them to, you know, set them up for that first barrel, because they're already naturally looking to put the brakes on, right? Because they want to slow down and catch their breath. Like, to me, like, understanding that the way a horse is going to move and the way it's going to react is the way you set your horse up for a really good barrel racing run, right? Like, and understanding inside rein to outside leg, all of that is imperative in a good barrel run. But it's like 1 right, 2 lefts. Man, going over a jump, going over a single vertical, right? Like, you have to have your, like horses are, especially equestrian horses, are looking for your guidance, right? And so like, I have to think about the outside rein and the outside leg. I have to think about that. as a guard, as a rail, as a firmness that you want to constantly keep lightly engaged, right? So if you're looking for propulsion and your horse has got like that gallop, he's naturally gonna be looking for a breath and looking to slow down. He don't wanna stay at that speed. So like that, and when I say the half halt's not a yank, it's just take your fingers and just go like that, right? Like, so like you take that, because you're maintaining tension from your elbow straight line all the way to the mouth, right? So you're maintaining that perfect tension, and you just want to gently go like this. And with that gentle like this, simultaneously with the half halt is from the back end, you're like pushing and pulling back equally, but with just a little bit more push and just enough pull back that the horse is, oh yeah, I'll stay at this speed. Oh yeah, I'll stay at this speed. And every 2 or 3 strides, it's like, and the horse starts learning, oh, I have to stay at this speed until you let me drop. And like the legs, right? Like the leg pressure, it has to be even, right? Like it really, your leg pressure on your horse, on both sides of the horse, if you're just going in a straight line, has to be like even. Like you need to imagine like your weight is down into your heels, right? And you're balanced off the ball of your hand. But you really need to imagine, and your knees are, and you're like rocking with the horse, right? Like, but you really need to imagine that your inner calves are being pulled into each other through the horse, right? And if you're turning to the right, let's say, that you're basically pushing your right leg into your left leg through the horse. And that left leg is saying, I got you steady, horse. You don't need to fishtail that butt on the other side, right? And if you're gonna change directions and go the other way, you're gonna change pressure, right? Like this is now gonna be the I got you leg, right? And this side's gonna be the I'm pushing you into this side leg, right? And it's kind of like you're never on autopilot when you're on a horse. Every ounce of your connection, whether it's your seat that's rocking with the horse, that erotic movement that we all associate with our hips, right? Like we got that rock going either at the walk, slow, at the trot, really fast, and at the gallop, like, ooh, we into this now, right? Like we got ourselves some motion in the ocean, right? Like that's independent. Your arms, your hands, the nod of the head as the horse's head rolls forward, your hands move forward and come back, move forward and come back gently with the nod of the hand, maintaining that tension, right? And then you're on top of that, you're doing these half halts. And if you want to turn, you're pulling one in. And as you're pulling in, you're pushing in with so you're pulling your right rein in and you're pushing into your left. Like it's all independent. At the same time, maintaining good posture, making sure that your shoulders don't drop, that you don't get too forward. All of this, right, is what I've been mastering over the last year. And Herbie, he's a German-trained Hanoverian. They put a lot of dressage training on these horses. Every so often, I ask Herbie to do something like a dressage move, and he fully operates it. And the thing that I've really understood now is that when you're doing a turn, why would you not want to say, like, if I'm going to turn to the right, I've got my posture, I'm using my legs, so I'm saying we're going to turn to the right, so I'm pushing the horse over this way. I've got this rein down, and I'm gently pulling back with this leg and pushing in, and the horse just glides like this. Like the horse glides, you and the horse glide around together, right? And it's like kind of like on a bar stool. So like that has been the most, you can tell I'm totally like jacked in learning how to sit on a horse correctly, right? Like That's been wild. So I'm gonna like divide this up into 2 parts because it's like really fucking long. And so like we'll call this last part like the riding part, and we'll call the other part like the introduction to Herbie, and we'll see what we find with this. Enjoy today's